Hello, everybody. Hi, I'm Pekela Riley. I am the founder of True and Pure Texture, and True and Pure Texture is the world's most inclusive premium textured hair extension brand. And so today I am here to share some exciting DIY tips around our product that can be found on Sally Beauty, and that is our Jasmine Coil Clip-ins. So as I shared, True and Pure Texture is all about inclusive texture, and our Jasmine Coil really services and serves the space of the type 4 texture. So Jasmine Coil Clip-ins is what we'll be focused on today. Going to show you some amazing DIY tips for your Jasmine Coil Clip-ins, and this is how we're going to start. So this is a Jasmine Coil Clip-ins. When you get them from Sally's, of course, they'll be like this. And you definitely want to stay on and ask those questions. I'm going to be answering your questions because there will be 3 sets of clip-ins given away today. So there will be an amazing giveaway. We'll be giving away 3 sets of Jasmine Coil clip-ins in 16-inch. So comment to win your Jasmine Coil clip-ins, okay? So let's get started. As I shared, Jasmine Coil Clip-ins cover type 4B, 4C, and they can be blown out, they can be colored. It is 100% virgin human hair. So let's just get started. First and foremost, when you get your clip-ins, they're going to be ultra defined, and so we really want to begin with the prep. So when you get your clip-ins, you definitely want to co-wash them, or if you've worn them before, you want to make sure that you reset them. And so what I'm going to do is just show an example before I get into the style, because this is one of the primary clip-in tips or hair extension tips that you'll want to be mindful of, is to really prep and define your clip-ins. And that starts with cleansing, or if you've worn them and they're fairly clean, really resaturating them with water and using a little bit of gel or foam. And I want to reiterate that, gel or foam, because when it comes to premium natural texture clip-ins, you don't want to use heavy oils, you don't want to use creams of that nature. So a light foam or gel, we're going to detangle from the ends. The midsection, in this way. So I just want to lightly get the product through and really create elongation or definition. It's much easier if you lay them out, but once you get them defined or twist out, you want to just start with some type of prep and then you lay them to dry. So the clip-ins that I have right here, mini clip-ins, they've already been prepped. As you can see how they look when they've been prepped and dry, then we're ready to go. So what we're going to show today is an easy half up, half down style that you can create with Jasmine Coil clip-ins. And so what I've done here, I've set from the front of the ear in the front of the ear, I've allowed this to go up. So you just want to put this in a little top knot. The great thing about this style is that you can create this style on so many lengths of hair. So whether you have shorter hair or medium hair or long hair, this is an easy protective style that you can create with Jasmine Coil clip-ins without any hair left out. So the back is done in braids. Also too, we've set this on braids, so of course you can use braids, but also too, you don't necessarily have to have braids, and I'll show you how. So the most important thing is that we are taking the clips of the hair and we're really sticking them into the braid. So if there's a braid, you want to take the clip and stick it into the braid. So these are the clips. They have they're comfort tip clips, and you will clip them into the braid. And they also can stick into smooth hair. So if the hair was smooth, so if you did not set the back in braids and you just kind of pulled it into a low pony, you could lay clip-ins on top of that. So not much more about that. I'm going to jump right into the style. So we're starting with prepping the hair And now we're talking about placement. So placement on this half up, half down is not really particular until we get to the top, and I'll show you why. Because what you want to do is make sure that we don't have a track showing. And I'll show you how that's done with a slight curvature. So as you see, we're starting to create that coverage. Everything with hair tends to look a little wonky until right at the end, and then there's a voila. On this style, we're going to be going in almost a curvature motion, right? And I'll show you when we get to the top why that's so important. It's going to help us to conceal the top weft. Because remember, this is a protective style with no leave out. The great thing about wearing clip-ins in this way, it's so very protective because everything that we do, we're known as a hair extension brand, but truly we are a protective style brand and a protective care brand, because so much of protective styling is really centered to hair health for many women with highly textured hair. So what this is allowing is for us to get instant length, fullness with texture that matches your own hair without having any leave out. So I'm still following this curvature. Notice it's not perfect. It's, I'm a hairstylist, but I want you to think that clip-in placement has to be perfect. I'll show you what those moments where strategic placement is so very important, okay? So we're going to continue. We're staggering. So if one stops a little short, you don't have to cut. You just stagger. You just keep staggering almost like a brick lay. Okay. So make sure that you're asking your questions in the comments, because there will be a giveaway on our Jasmine coil clip-in. So we see how that's building out and looking very nice and organic. I'm just bricklayering through the back. Now, what I'm being mindful of in this moment as I get closer to the top is that I'm starting to curve. So I'm gonna place this one, and then I'll tilt the mannequin head back to show you what I mean. And why it's going to be really, really important when we get to the top of the head. So when it comes to clip-ins, our prep, our placement is all about setting us up for a protective style. And then we'll talk about how to keep your clip-ins performing for you for the long run. So have that in. I'm going to take this off so that we can just kind of see what's happening here at the top. The great thing about Jasmine coil clip-ins is that they can, just like the beauty of all of natural hair, and particularly 4C hair, is so very versatile because you can wear it in a defined state, a wash and go state, and then we also can have it elongated and defined in this way. It can be frothy and froey, which is also very beautiful. This hair can also be blown out and stretched, wanded, colored. It has all the versatility of your highly textured types. So again, picking up on how to cover this top, I want to show you how, because we're not leaving any hair out, but we don't want our track showing. So I'm going to lay this here, right? At the top of the head, we curve. This is a little high, but I'll take it off and show you all exactly what I mean. So as we get to the top of the top knot, notice how I'm starting to make this U. This is very significant because it allows for you to completely have this half up, half down style where it appears that so much hair is left out, but you actually don't have any hair that's left out. And you also don't have any track that's showing. So when the sections get smaller, you can use smaller pieces. So what so significant about the clip-ins is that you have variations of sizes that allow you to create a full style. Typically, most hairstyles will take about 1.5 to 2 sets of clip-ins. So you want to make sure that you have enough clip-ins if your goal is to completely cover your hair. But you do have an array of lengths, widths, width sizes to lay to give you to fit your needs. So here in this top, I'm going to lay this particular track, and I'm going to just curve it into this space, right? Gonna take another short one and just curve it into this space. Now, sometimes you run into a clip-in and it's like, okay, you definitely don't want to go cutting up your clip-ins because it's an investment. It's a premium investment. And so you don't want to cut your clip-in unless you really, really have to. What's so very good about the high texture of jasmine coil is that in many cases, you can just clip it into a previous clip-in that you've previously laid, and it will secure it. And in this case, you can take a pin and just fold it, but it won't show. And I'll show you how, even if I did not pin this here, it would not show. But for all intents and purposes, you had a clip-in that was a little bit too long in width, too wide in width at the top. A light fold really sets it into place. So as you can see, we have pretty much all the back done at this point, right? And there's no hair out. And notice what we see here is that there is no weft showing. So because we curved to the top, because we curved toward our top knot, we actually concealed all of the side wefts, allowing for this to be truly protected. This would also be great, like if you wanted to experiment with color or a natural blowout without putting heat or color on your hair. You could lay these without having to worry about like what your hair is actually doing underneath. So because this is a half up, half down, we have this little knot here. She's a little lonely. We're just going to clip into the knot. Clip into our top knot. And so I don't even think we are at literally at a set and a half here. So we can kind of see where this is going. I've really clipped on top of the knot. And that's why I shared that we could create this style on so many lengths of hair, which is absolutely amazing. Because, you know, I'm really so grateful to bring to Sally Beauty and partner with Sally Beauty, offering really diverse beauty in this way, because 70% of the world has textured hair. And for so long, there hasn't been a full array of textures that really accommodated this diverse group of people. And so, you know, having texture extensions that match your hair or blend with your hair really speaks to being enough, and you're certainly enough. And so having clip-in options to really extend more of who we are is so very meaningful to me, and hopefully very meaningful to you all. Again, taking the clip in, I am just taking it, and sometimes you can clip the clip into another clip. Like once you clip the first clip in onto the hair, you have a surface to clip the other clip into the hair. So let me make sure that I show that. As well. That's my wet one. And I'm just wrapping around. A couple things could happen here. This is already set up for, I could take a section of this I can take a section of this. Sometimes if you need a pin, it's always best to have a pin or two. They're not going to hurt anything, but just for security. You could take a pin or two, take this. If I wanted this to be like a pony, you could take some of the clip in here. You want to take a portion of the end of one of the wefts, take it out like this, and you wrap that around. We kind of wanted that to be a ponytail moment. But today, if you wanted that to be a ponytail moment, let's see, I gotta get in front of her to see. Then we also could gather this and really make this a cute top knot. I think it's so very cute to take a few tendrils out. I think these are the little things that make it look so very natural. Because the goal is to wear extensions and try to have them look as natural as possible. And so frizz and a little bit of fray and a few tendrils here and there are actually those things that elevate the style to give it a more natural look. And in this case, we want a top knot. So we're just going to twist this. Almost twist it down and bring this around, right? A little more challenging with a mannequin than actually your head, because a mannequin head is super, super small. So as you can see, we're really at the front of the hairline. But you do have that option to position your top knot in a number of places. And it actually looks more natural if you have some moments where you have a tendril or two that sort of just stick out. So it doesn't have to be totally perfect, because that is the nature of natural hair and highly textured hair. It's not uniform. The variations of it make it super, super beautiful. Okay. So we want to check the balance. You're in the mirror, you'll be like checking the balance on it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And you may feel some clips or things of that nature, but it's absolutely something that would not be shown. And that's the great part about having highly textured extensions, is that they're quite forgiving in regards to where your clips are or where a pin may be, is because they actually hide it, right? And so here we are, we have, for the most part, our half up, half down style. And it's fairly defined. This is not like defined like a finger coil style, of course, because with a finger coil style, that would be maximum definition. This is kind of really a frothy, air dried, gentle wash and go to the clip-ins, but it still has a great deal of definition. And of course, if we wanted to volumize this, we would take this at the root, our fingers through the roots of the hair. And what you want to do when you want to volumize highly textured hair, such as jasmine coil clip-ins, which is the 4B, 4C nature, you want to take your fingers toward the scalp and when you stretch out. And when you get that first point of resistance, that's where you stop. Notice as we continue to do this, we really start to volumize. The more I do that, the more I can create volume. And if I really wanted this to be like a froey or frothy effect, I could then pick this out as well to make it a froey look. So let's see. Comment to win. Yes, absolutely. Don't forget that we have a giveaway. We will be giving away 3 sets of our jasmine coil clip-ins. Jasmine coil clip-ins come in 12-inch as well as 16-inch. And they really, really allow you to create so many versatile styles. I particularly love the 12-inch clip-ins because the 12-inch clip-ins allow for filling in like on a short taper cut, or sometimes, you know, the bottom length of your wash and go is a little gappy, just a few clip-ins. So clip-ins don't always have to be a full head of clip-ins in this nature, which is truly protective in design, but they can also work, and they also work so well for really filling in volume on naturally textured styles. Let's take a look. That's what I don't have in here. So truly beautiful, natural texture. She could use a little trim, you know, can get a little trim through here. But you don't want to go cutting up all of your clip-ins, particularly for this particular style. Something super, super easy to do. Just want to go back through. We really started with a foundation where the back of the hair was completely braided. As you can see, it's completely not perfect. You have the braid size doesn't have to be small and minute. It could be 2 braids. It could actually be pulled back in a low pony if this was something you were doing for the day. So it's such a very quick and easy style to do. It's so very forgiving on the go. And particularly, it's so very just gentle on the hair, because it doesn't matter how long your hair is. It can be long, it can be medium, it can be short. This particular half up, half down effect works really, really well for all lengths. And the great thing about with it being high texture like jasmine coil is it's not dependent upon you having a sleek hairline. However, I think it's great to show, like, even with a sleek hairline, that contrast creates a little editorial, a really cool vibe to it. But also with a wavy or frothy hairline, like high texture hair, it just lends to ultimate blend and just picks up and it blends very organically with natural texture. So just want to really talk about jasmine coil and why it's such really so near and dear to my heart. And because the jasmine coil clip-ins really, really speak to type 4, because it's so very underserviced, and it's so very, there's so many gaps around its offerings. And in this case, we can see that jasmine coil presents in moments more on the looser side of 4. So admittedly more on the looser side of 4. But I just want to show you the versatility in this texture, because when it can be very defined, but just like type 4 hair, we have all of these beautiful moments within. So if I wanted to have this to be a very frothy and froey finish to it, there it is. So we really get the duality of our type 4 finish that blends so very beautiful with our coils and high texture, but we also have the ease and a little more manageability with that texture, and the ability to take it to a very high textured moment that blends with our hair. And so many of our users at True and Pure Texture really love jasmine coil in this state, and they will stretch it out. This can be stretched out. It can be just brushed out and even gently wanded just for a frothy effect to the style. And so either one of those finishes would work amazing for this particular set. Let's just take a look at what's happening here. Again, I want to ground, if some of you have just joined late to our live. I'm Pekela Riley, founder of True and Pure Texture, and I'm just showing how to some quick DIY, some fly DIY clips for easy jasmine coil install. So I'm going to take a few down just to kind of show the foundation of this. This is just kind of some braids up the back, and the front has been smoothed into a top knot. So the clip-ins can go into braids. That gives, a little more to dig into, or it allows it to be more protective if you want your hair sort of out of the way or put up. But the clip-ins themselves can actually go into sleek hair as well, or smooth hair. So even if you don't braid the hair down, you can clip it in. So the back could have been put into a low pony as well. The important thing about this particular half down style is making sure that, and when we get to the top, that we actually curve here at the very top. the very top of this style, the very top of the style, we want to curve the clip-in so that it falls forward. It falls forward and it covers up the side wefts. So this allows for it to be completely down in the back without any visible weft showing. Are there any questions? So we kind of breeze right through that just to show you the ease of how you can transform your hair very quickly into a fly DIY style with the jasmine coil clip-ins. But yeah, so this is the time where we want to, if there are any questions that you have, please ask your questions. Please do so now because there are going to be 3 winners, 3 sets of the jasmine coil clip-ins. And that's a very fitting question. So how long do they last? They last for years. So just want to share that jasmine coil clip-ins are 100% virgin hair. And that is what is so unique about our offering with True and Pure Texture, and particularly jasmine coil clip-ins, that it's 100% virgin hair. So it's very high texture, blends with type 4, but it's 100% virgin hair. And so it can last and will last for years, providing that you take care of it. So as I shared, of course, when you get your clip-ins, you want to make sure that you prep them. That's to co-wash them, rinse them. You want to use a foam or a gel and a brush or your fingers to define them. And then we want to, as we spoke to, so it's basically our prep, our placement, and then let's talk about preserving them, right? And keeping them ready. So typically our jasmine coil clip-ins come in the bag. What you want to do is make sure that when you shampoo them, you want to lay them out and put them in a place where once you set them, they're sort of undisturbed. Oftentimes when I wear jasmine coil clip-ins, I let the definition or the set last for quite a bit, maybe a little bit too long, but I typically take them out and I lay them in a drawer or lay them in a little box, and I have them for years and years. So providing that you take care of your clip-ins, they will last for years. These are not synthetic clip-ins. They're not plastic clip-ins. They're not chemical on. This is premium virgin texture that will last for years and years if you care for it, just as you would your natural hair. So 4C is always worthy of love, whether it's your hair or whether it's clip-ins, and it will perform and give you all the beautiful versatility as your natural hair would, providing that you take care of it. How many pieces is needed for this style? This is great. I have a little bit less than 2 sets on my desk. So let's pull it up. And this is what I did this style. This is what I have left from a little bit less of 2 sets. I still have all of these left, okay? But this is admittedly a smaller head than we have, but let's see. Not too far off. But for most people, you will need 1.5 to 2 sets of clip-ins to make sure that you can create an array of styles. So you want to go ahead and get 2 sets of clip-ins, and here's why. Because you don't want to get somewhere in the middle of this and not have enough. It's better to have more hair than you need than less hair than you would need in any moment, so that you're always prepared. And that's what protective styling is all about. It really, really serves us and brings our style through in those clutch moments. And when those clutch moments happen and we need to do a 10-minute fly style where none of our hair can be showing and we have to get out the door, we don't want to be 1 clip-in short. So make sure that if you want to have clip-ins that get you through and really protect you and your high texture, make sure that you get 2 sets of clip-ins is what's recommended. So as I shared, does a curl pattern bounce back after flat iron? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So I don't know how many of you are new or haven't heard about True and Pure Texture. You'll see many instances in which jasmine coil is presented in so many ways. And one of my favorite ways is I actually blow it out a lot. I blow it out and I wand it. So jasmine coil will return to its texture after heat styling. But as I shared, it is 100% human hair. So two things would happen. If it were not human hair, it would probably melt, right? But it is human hair. So what you want to do is be mindful that the same care and the mindfulness that we have with our natural hair, we want to have some of that, not completely, because they allow us to do some things that we wouldn't necessarily do to our hair. But if you flat iron them every single day, you will still have the texture in the style, but it may be looser. So do expect that if you color your clip-ins, they're going to loosen a little bit, just like your natural hair would. Do expect that if you abuse your clip-ins, they may perform just like your hair does when you abuse it. What clip-ins do, particularly natural texture clip-ins, premium human hair clip-ins, allow for fullness and length that matches your hair, that can blend with your hair. It's about having more of who we are. It's about the micro texture. It's about the frothiness, the velvety feel of natural hair, those aesthetic moments that are so very beautiful to natural hair. So that's what clip-ins, in particular jasmine coil clip-ins, allow for us to have, is the elongation of our beautiful type 4 range of textures. So let's see, any more questions? Have some fly giveaways for this fly DIY. How many colors are available? It's a great question. Again, True & Pure Texture is a premium texture hair extension company. All of our textures are 100% human hair, and they come in its raw state. And so it will come in a natural, uncolored state. So typically that is from a dark brown, a very dark brown, to a very medium brown. That will be its natural color. They have not been colored, which gives a beautiful canvas for whether you want to, like I've been wanting to wear a little bit of red, but I'm not going to do that to my tresses. You get to do that to clip-ins. And so having textures that match your hair and having the options to do these things that you don't want to commit to with your hair really makes it protective. So you can color them any color in which you choose to, but they will come in the natural organic color. Once you take these out, that's a great question. So once you take your clip-ins out, here's what you should do. Let's just take one out, right? You want to take our clip-ins out. And typically, so because this clip-in is protective in design, there are some people and some women can sleep in their clip-ins for a couple days. Again, our collection is based around providing that length and fullness, but also being a protective brand. So after a day or so, I do recommend nightly, but definitely at a day or two, you want to take your clip-ins out at night and you want to lay them gently. So you would take them out of the head. They'll still be mostly defined, and you can just lay them. You lay them in a box or a shelf, but somewhere where they won't be disrupted. It's not that it's going to damage them if they're disrupted, but if you throw them any type of way, then they may get ratted or tangled in a drawer, and then they won't be ready for when you are in a clutch and you need to do this 10-minute style. We saw that I did this in approximately 10 minutes, maybe a little too fast for this session, but I thought it was very fitting too, just to show you how, having a style that you can pull together in a clutch situation, you can do it fairly quickly. So the way that you leave your clip-ins or have them set for the next time, it almost is like being proactive or prepared for the next thing. So you want to lay them out. I lay them in a nice little box, or if you have a shelf, you just want to take them out and lay them on top of each other without disturbing the texture. Otherwise, when you go back and grab them to do a quick install again or fill a section, it's only going to be in the state in which you've left it. Now, that may not be bad, because I particularly love 4C texture in all of its states. is absolutely the most glorious texture to me. Type 4. It has the full range of versatility, and it's such a time to be appreciated in this way. So, I may grab my clip-in that is a little fuzzed out or frayed out a little bit, and this could be my half up, half down. It just depends on the vibe or the energy, because all of it is simply beautiful. But note that the state in which you store your clip-ins will be the state in which they present when you're ready to install them again. So if you like them defined, make sure that you take them out with care and lay them in a box. Let's see. Can you go over the best cleansing and maintenance of the hair, please? Absolutely. Jasmine coil is type 4 virgin hair. So we want to really kind of reference to how we would actually care for our own hair, right? So we want to, when we get them, once we get our jasmine coil clip-ins, this is how they're going to come to you from Sally. That's when you go to sally.com and you order your jasmine coil clip-ins. They're going to come like this. Going to open them. Let's see how defined they are, right? Look how defined they come, right? This is great. Nothing wrong with putting them in this way, but you're going to get the most beauty out of it if you do a lightly co-wash it. So you want to lightly co-wash it. Again, once it's nice and wet, you add a little bit of leave-in conditioner. You want to, while it's wet, we're going to pretend this is co-washed for the sake of, and bring this back. Okay. So it's shampoo, it's co-wash, it's just ready to be like anything that we want it to be again. That's a great thing too, because once you wet it and shampoo it, you almost see the possibilities. This could be definitely done in a wash and go. It also can be blow dried from this point. It also can be rod set from this point if you wanted to alter the curl. But for all intents and purposes, you've taken this out of your bag, the bag in which it's come. You have a little bit of leave-in conditioner. You want to take a little bit of gel or mousse, a heavy mousse or setting mousse or foam, and put into the clip-ins. You can do clumping. I'm in a little awkward position. I typically use my arms like this. And then I want to lay them on a towel to dry. Now, it depends on the type of texture that I want to see. If I wanted this to be more defined, let's just pretend I clip this into a wig block. A wig block is super helpful, especially if you wear protective styles, you need a wig block because they give you a foundation to work from. So for example, if I wanted this to be truly more defined, because it does have the ability to be super defined, I have to build that in. So this would be on a wig block. I would have some T-pins, of course, and then I could take the gel. I could go through the track, really using this to create clumping. Seeing the definition this way, and if I want it to be super defined, because sometimes we do, I could finger coil it to really set up super, super defined texture. So we can see how, if I wanted to finger coil it, it could be this way as well. So you have the potential for so many states of definition, but the main important thing is that when you get your extensions, you certainly want to co-wash them, use a leave-in conditioner, Make sure that you are using a brush that is designed for high texture, a shampoo brush. So you want to use a brush that is designed for high texture, starting at the ends of the hair, the middle, and then to the base of the clip. Oftentimes, having a wig block and T-pins will allow you the best foundation to set your clip-ins. Once you get the texture that you want on your clip-in, whether that's a wash and go, whether you've done a finger coil, whether you've decided to add a wand to it, blow dry or wand it or rod to it, you want to then set that on the block and then lay them on a towel to dry. Let's see if there are any more questions. Absolutely. So this has been an amazing time with Sally Beauty. So excited to share with you all this easy fly DIY style with jasmine coil type 4B, 4C clip-ins with Sally Beauty. You can find them on sallybeauty.com. And also make sure that you are following Sally Beauty on Instagram, as well as True and Pure Texture on all social. So make sure right now that you're following Sally Beauty and True and Pure Texture on all social media platforms. And so we will be going, let's see if we have a few more moments for any more questions, for just a few more questions. And it's a good, good time to ask questions. There will be 3 winners today of our beautiful clip-in sets that can do so very much. So even with the clip-in set, even if you didn't want like the back down, the top could be just taken up into a top knot. You can create a faux bang. There's so many things that can be done with jasmine coil clip-ins, and it could even present in a straight or blowout state because it is 100% virgin hair, and you have that option to do that. So there aren't any more questions. We're going to wrap up this fly DIY style with True and Pure Texture Jasmine Coil clip-ins available on sallybeauty.com, and we're going to sign off. Any more questions?